Why draft a defensive end when you can wait to undrafted free agency and snag one? We took a defensive tackle in the 6th round, I believe it was, with Makai Wingo, a defensive tackle / DN, and we took a defensive end, the first one in the draft. As a matter of fact, the first defensive end since, I want to say, classified DE since, if I'm not mistaken, Aiden Hutchinson or Josh Paschal. You guys tell me that Josh Paschal was classified as a defensive end, and that was the last one that we took in the NFL draft. And guess what? We didn't take a one in the draft this year because he was undrafted, so he does not count. He is an undrafted free agent. It happens every year after the draft, and we're going to continue or resume our series Undrafted. You can tell by the banner below. We did it last year. Massive success. We're going to go over every single undrafted free agent and talk about them and see what we can find out about them, because a lot of times there's nothing to find out about these guys. We saw that last year. Now, before you guys start to go hard on me in the comment section, because I know you wanted to. I know you want to. It was done yesterday, but that's cool because that comes with the territory, right? If you look at the Detroit Lions undrafted series, if you look at the people they drafted last year, I believe only 2 of them made the practice squad out of the 8 to 10 or so that they brought in. If I'm not mistaken, if my memory serves me correctly, only 2 made the practice squad. I don't think any made the actual 53-man roster. I think the standout last year was Starling Thomas V. But let's take a look at this. And this information is coming from the Grove Report. Here's a little brief synopsis. It says, Issac Ukwu had a productive 3-year career with James Madison before electing to transfer to Ole Miss. He recorded 87 tackles, 27 and a half tackles for loss, 16 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, and 5 pass defended in his time with James Madison. In 2022, the senior registered 40 tackles, 10 and a half tackles for loss, 7 and a half sacks, 1 pass breakup, and 1 forced fumble. And then last year, he was able to record 3.5 sacks with 18 solo tackles. Now, it's very difficult to find any information out about him. I don't know if he was injured or anything like that, but this guy, we talk about Matthew Betts. We talk about Marcus Davenport. We talk about James Houston. This is a guy that we talk about that really has to stand out in order to make the team. We'll see. We'll see. It's very difficult for an undrafted free agent to make the team, but others have made the team. As a matter of fact, Jerry Jacobs was an undrafted free agent who managed to crack the 53-man roster. So while I'm not counting this guy out, I think that it's going to be hard for him to make the 53-man roster because he is going against Matthew Betts, Marcus Davenport, and those guys to see if he can make the NFL roster. So again, this is the beginning of our series of Undrafted. We did it last year, huge success, and we got to find out a lot more about these individuals. If you remember, Chase Cota was part of that, Isaac Darkangelo. I don't know if we made a video about him, but Starling Thomas, he was one of the first ones we made a video about. Mohamed Ibrahim, he was one of the guys that we made a video about as well. And several of them either made an impact in preseason or managed to be put on the practice squad. If you remember, Chase Cota was a guy that we were rooting for. I think Dylan Drummond is somebody we signed to picked up an undrafted free agency as well. So they don't all work out, but sometimes they do. I got an announcement for you guys. It's going to blow your mind. The Black Lion that we had to give away for, well, guess what? It went unclaimed. So we have to do that all over again. So if you weren't part of it, you now have another opportunity to win the Detroit Lion, but just wait and see and hear how these rules are going to go, because they're going to change and tweak in just a slight manner. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Overall, let's talk about the NFL draft very quickly. The NFL draft very quickly, I'm going to give it a solid A-. I know a lot of people don't think that I like the draft, that y'all don't think I like it. But that's not the case at all. That's not the case at all. We'll talk about that in another. As a matter of fact, let's talk about it now. Let's talk about it now because we got a few minutes to do so. So I want to make something very clear. If you go back and you look at the history, the track record of Brad Holmes and the defensive line, specifically the defensive end, there's not a lot of success there. As a matter of fact, if you go back and you look at it and you take out Josh Paschal, who I thought was classified as a DT, but apparently he's a DE. And I don't think James Houston is classified and drafted as a DE as well. You wind up having the people that we have on the roster. We have no defensive ends worth 2 cents outside of Aiden Hutchinson. And if you remove Aiden Hutchinson from the equation, the Detroit Lions they ended the season with 28.5 sacks. I know 29.5 sacks if my math is correct. So that is an issue for me. But overall, I don't dislike the draft. I see now that Brad Holmes, edge rushing is not really something that he's really kind of going to look for. Not like that anyway. He took Aiden. That was a no-brainer outside of that. And we're supposed to be picking late every year. That's what the trend is supposed to be. So it's going to get harder and harder and harder. And Brad, he was most excited. I think this was the most excited he's been. He's traded back and traded more than I think I've ever seen him do. He talked about it before, how this is the draft. When you don't pick as early in the top 10 are kind of no-brainers. This is when you really have to do your homework. So we'll see. But as far as Isaac, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you think Isaac makes the team? Or do you think we're talking about him like we were Chase Cota and Starling Thomas V come preseason? Or do you think he is just at best a camp body? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like it or not, I'm here to stay. I'm not going anywhere. And you're always going to get my opinion the realest way possible, because that's the only way I know how to be. And contrary to what you might have heard, crying like a little girl is not something I do. As a matter of fact, my eyes was dry during the entire NFL draft. Now, Yale, that's something different. Let me know what you think in the comments below about Issac Ukwu. Maybe that's how you say it. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions. I ain't going nowhere. As hard as you may try, I'm here to stay.